Hello, Joel Tadman here from Golf Monthly or Westhill Golf Club today, talking about the new Callaway Epic and Epic Pro irons. These irons have caused a bit of a stir online because they come in at quite a premium price. So really sparked the debate about the prices of golf clubs generally. Are golf clubs too expensive? That's up for you to decide. We'll come on to a few of those points a bit later in this video. But first, let's talk about the concept of this iron, the technology that we see that Callaway have put into these irons. Obviously, this is part of a Innovation Without Boundaries project that Callaway CEO Chip Brewer put onto his head of R&D, Alan Hocknell. Said, look, if there were no constraints on materials or cost of materials or design, things like that, what irons would you make and what irons would you play? Go and create me something that takes forgiveness and distance and ball speed, all those sort of things, to another level. And the product of this is the Epic and Epic Pro irons. Now, let's talk about the Epic first of all. What we've got here is an exoskeleton design. We've seen similar concepts with other Callaway clubs. What this does is it stiffens the top and the bottom of the club, allowing the face to take more of the load, so it's going to spring more powerfully impact, give you more distance. We've also got next generation face cup technology, so thinner face, more distance is going to come from that as well. Probably the biggest part of the design that's the most interesting from this new Epic iron is the metal injection molding process that Callaway have used. Essentially allows Callaway to really strategically place a very specific amount of weight in each iron head through the set. It's a very complex process. It forms part of the internal standing wave, which is essentially the weighting inside the head. It allows Callaway to really precisely position the CG exactly where they want it to get that nice combination of distance, launch and speed through the set. And that's what Callaway have done here. It's certainly one of the things they feel goes some way to justifying the price point that these irons come in at. We've also got obviously the Epic Pro iron, which is a similar concept. It's just a slimmed down version, more compact design, more for your better players, your lower handicaps. So we've talked about the technology. You're down by the ball. The looks of these clubs are, down at address. It's a very simple looking iron. There's not too much going on top. You've got a little bit of offset with the Callaway Epic, and then that reduces significantly into the Epic Pro, although there is an element of offset there still. Obviously the Callaway Epic has a much thicker top line. Lighter section on both of these irons to frame the ball in the middle of the club face. Nice kind of silver brush satin finish on this. So you can see here we've got this triaxial carbon effect on the back. It's definitely a very modern, cutting edge looking iron. I've got both these irons in the Project X loading zone shaft, so a new shaft model launched recently, creating a lot of fuss on tour. That's the technology, that's the spec I've got it in. Let's have a look at the Foresight Sports GC2 launch monitors to see the performance that we got. Okay then, so the all important numbers then for the Callaway Epic and Epic Pro irons. I've got them both in a 6 iron, which is 26 and 27 degrees respectively. Guess we should probably start with carry distance, shouldn't we? I've got to say it is actually quite impressive. We'll start with the Epic first. So 195 yard carry distance, but wow, it's spinning under 4,000 RPM. That is probably what I'd want my 5 iron to be spinning at. Don't forget this is a 6 iron. Obviously the lofts are relatively strong. You'd expect lowish spin from an iron, a 6 iron of this loft, but obviously under 4,000 is significantly low. Pretty high launch, to be fair, 18 degrees. That high launch, low spin is obviously a recipe for distance. There's no question these irons feel very hot, very fast off the face. They still actually feel quite soft, to be fair. The Callaway Epic iron, which we're talking about now, is obviously a lot louder in sound. Definitely felt more explosive, more powerful than the Epic Pro, which carried average 191 yard carry, which is still very long for a 6 iron. I mean, these clubs are essentially 5 irons. We look at the lofts and the performance that you're getting. Nice to see the Epic Pro goes a little bit less distance. Obviously it's 1 degree higher in loft, and we've actually got 2 degrees higher launch angle. So definitely that is for me the more playable iron, but then it's still spinning at 4,100 RPM, which is still really low for a 6 iron. The peak height for Epic Pro was 40 yards, so a nice high ball flight and pretty good distance, but that Epic iron is a distance club. There's no two ways about it. If you prioritise distance, if you lack distance, and that is the one thing that you want, there's no question the Callaway Epic irons are going to deliver that. Possibly if you're moving down in handicap and you want more feel, obviously the Epic Pro gives you a better feel. It gives you perhaps distances that you're more accustomed to. I'd say the forgiveness is definitely there. Definitely felt very hot from a wide area on the face. Obviously that's more applicable to the larger Callaway Epic iron. But generally, I would definitely prefer the Pro. It's definitely more playable for me. but that spin level is a worry. It's very low spin. It's going to give you distance, but for irons, it's not all about distance. It's about ball flight. It's about distance, consistency, and then we obviously move on to the price. You know, do these irons offer value for money? That is something that you will need to decide. Does the performance justify the extra investment over other irons that Callaway make in their line? These come in at £1,749, so that is a significant investment in your game. Golfers seeing this as a quicker, simpler way to possibly improve their game. I think those golfers need to remember that it is ultimately them who control what the club does. This club is not going to make you hit the ball significantly longer, significantly straighter. Yes, there's definitely going to be an element of improvement in performance from these clubs, and the club can only do so much. Sometimes it's nice to buy expensive things. They look great in the bag. If you've got the money, you can afford it. Why wouldn't you splash out on the best? There's no question the performance of these clubs is very good. Is it £17,500 good? Is debatable. Obviously, you know, it's not all about function though. Sometimes, you know, you could buy a Callaway watch or a Tag Heuer watch. They're both going to tell the time perfectly well. You could buy an old banger, you could buy a Ferrari. They're both going to get you from A to B, but they do it in very different ways, and they offer a different user experience. That's up for you to decide. You know, no one should really criticise people for wanting to spend this kind of money on clubs. If they want a nice set of clubs that's going to give them a little bit of prestige, make them feel good about themselves, then, you know, who are we to judge them on that? But I hope you enjoyed that review. Hopefully it's given you a little bit of insight into the performance that you get from these Callaway Epic irons. That may perhaps go some way to justifying the premium price, maybe not the whole way, but that's for you to decide. So as always, you know, I would urge you to go and give them a try, see what performance you get, and then it's up to you to decide if it's worth the investment. But for now, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.